Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Thank you. Bit of an impromptu start to me. I was just in the kitchen, just going through last minute Twitter, and then thought, I wonder what time. It must be about 4:45, is it? 1:04. Oh, so quick sprint here. Even Arthur followed me. He's got a googly belly again. Oh, these lumen. It's unfair, isn't it? I'm going to put something on Twitter soon. He's got his, you'll hear his stomach. It goes. It's usually when he hasn't had food for a bit. So it's not what he's eating, and it's just the vets can't do anything. I've tried vets all over the place, and they give him this tablets for bad bellies and probiotic stuff. None of it works. None of it works. I want to see anyone out there who knows what it works, how to get rid of and he just looks really sad and then hides places. Hey up, Harry, Mick. Thank you, Mick. I've seen you fighting getting those trolls there. Thank you very much. Getting a bit of troll action, same people all the time, so boring. I do feel for them, to be honest. I genuinely feel sorry for them because they're like this. They're like, oh, is he? Yeah, we can twist that, we can move that, and somebody doesn't like him, what he said. Okay, and we're going to support him, and it's like, oh, blimey, just get a life of your own, enjoy your own life, and do your own contribution. And instead of looking at me, there's like 3 or 4 of them, and they all talk to each other. I call them the poison dwarfs, and they said, "Oh, it's disgraceful behaviour calling poison dwarfs in this day and age." Well, there is, just for everyone's notice, a folk group. They look like a folk group. I don't know if they are. The folk group that will be touring the UK called the Poison Dwarfs. So I don't think it's that bad. Many people call them the Coven as well. So bless them. So I don't mention their names. I don't want to give them any more. I think they're desperately looking for a anti-police journalist twist to them, and they get nothing, and they say horrible things, and they get 1 or 2 likes, so it doesn't really matter. And then, so I've done. What a week it's been, as they say. What a week it has been. Where should we start? I think I want to start with this. Well, obviously the Queen, former Her Majesty the Queen. What a week it is. I mean, this is really going to, where were you when you were told, and that side of things. And really, isn't it amazing how it's hit the public, how the public have actually reacted? I personally think it was lovely, actually, that it happened at Balmoral Castle in Scotland. It's really tied in Scotland. We love Scotland. We like Scotland being a part of us. Most of us do. Great majority. I haven't met anyone who says not. I think people get frustrated. They say, well, if you want to leave, just bloody leave then. But people are trying to rip it apart. And there's some people who can say, well, we can have the royal family, but we can be part of the Commonwealth, but we don't want to be part of England. Oh, no, come on. So anyway, that's really good to see the love and the support and all that from Scotland. So thank you. We loved seeing it. England loved seeing it, that's for sure. Yeah, well, Mick, you're right. And to be honest, I've been blocking a few people. I've blocked very few people in the past. And now I must say, they just pollute my time. I don't mind if they have something to say or if they disagree. That's fine. Because that's fine. It's when they're just vindictive, toxic. I don't need that on my timeline now. So I'm cutting it off. Cleansing. I don't even look and see what they do. Occasionally people send me stuff what they're saying, but it doesn't matter. They don't gain any traction. Talk about this. Okay, so obviously you're probably aware that I was on VIP protection, that side of things. And so yes, I did, fortunate enough to work with the Queen, literally side by side, 3 occasions. Another 2 occasions, was lucky enough to go to 2 garden parties. But there's a shout out for RASP, the Royal and Specialist Protection Officers. They are the ones who look after the government officials and the royalty. And at the moment, they have enough to look after the London the London contingent. But when there is a conference or when there is a London Bridge situation like this, especially now, I used to go to London quite regularly, and once I went 3 or 4 times in 1 year to support the London protection officers. Just going to shut the window there because there's people talking out there, and they will be doing long hours. It is very spontaneous. You don't know where you're going to go from one thing to another. You might have somebody who gets up very early and goes to bed very late, and of course, protection officers then have to go back after they've gone to bed and before they've got up. A little note for everyone to know: remember, if it's like 5 protection officers for one individual, because you may have advance and backup and things like that, drivers, then remember that you can't have then 6 people going into a venue in a conference for each VIP. So they have venue protection, don't they? So VIP officers hand them over, and it's all very well organised, very well done. And then there's lots of protection officers having cups of tea at the rack, and then need to be spot on when their VIP leaves very quickly. They need to be ready for him. I missed my glass of water because I was in a hurry so much. Andy Bell, what did? Excuse me. What are we looking for other than that? Okay. Yes, we had the police shooting in London. I believe there was protests today. I think just as well as we shouldn't, here we go. I think just as much as we shouldn't speculate as to what happened, we shouldn't speculate by saying nothing to see here, everything was fine, no issues. We shouldn't speculate by having loads of protests saying that they were murdered and it's a racist thing and things like that. That default button is a very it's just not the right thing to do. Let's wait till this happens. And unfortunately, the wheels of our criminal justice system do move very slowly. Everyone else has to wait for 9 months or so to get to know exactly what's happened. And that means in this case, everyone does. All the communities have to wait, and we can't just demand answers straight away, as much as we all would like that. Having been a firearms officer, I've said here, and involved in the post-incident procedures in the past, I would say it's very dangerous precedent to set. And that's when I was saying about I hope, because they did put in there about because the adverse community reaction and losing their faith. I really hope we're listening to, we're not, quite frankly, because the rest of the country don't seem to have that huge lack of faith in the police. A small group of very rightly emotional people, because they're directly involved in that individual, and they know him and they like him and things. They're probably very nice to him, but it's clear from his past that he probably wasn't very nice to many other people, and that the police are having to deal with this very difficult, spontaneous incident. So anyway, I support those officers, and wholeheartedly, horrendous job to have to deal with. I've been on many a vehicle stop. We used to get quite a lot of London, Birmingham, Liverpool, Manchester gangs coming down, trying to take a piece out of places like Plymouth or Exeter and whatever. There's a fair bit of money there that they can get hold of, and we would hit it very hard. We did not once we let that in, it was difficult to get rid of. But there's drugs everywhere. There's people trafficking everywhere. No one is safe from it. Yes, right. We'll go through. Right. Here we go. That's that one. Let's see what else is happening. I am looking at your comments. Okay, I think there was good. Yeah, the word was the decision has been reached following careful consideration of the number of factors, including a significant impact on public confidence. I'm really worried that the bosses in London, commissioner, deputy commissioner, and whoever the IOPC are listening to a very small proportion of the community and getting an exaggerated view of what actually is out there. Anyway, I thought this was nice. This gem going out now. What's the support? Metropolitan Police Federation. I like this. I like this very much. It's strong leadership from the Met Federation. Metropolitan Police Federation is supporting a Brave Farms colleague involved in a recent incident in South London, and we are also supporting their family. Our thoughts are with all affected. The Federation will make no further comment. And I think it's really important as far as trying to establish what may or may not have happened. We can't talk about that in any detail whatsoever, but all I will say, even when I was dealing with a fatal road traffic collision, you will automatically look at all the scenarios. So, for example, with that, we took the fatal investigations book manual was taken off the murder manual. Someone's died. We need to find out what had happened, and so we will be looking at the road conditions. Was it mechanical fault? Was the person fatigued? Was it distraction? Was it mechanical fault, or has someone affected the vehicle? If they altered the vehicle to make it dangerous, was it murder? All right, because it was considered in days gone by that if you wanted to get rid of a body then that had been smashed on the back of the head, chuck it in a car and throw the car over a ravine. Well, in this day and age, it'd be very difficult to get away with that because the postmortems had to match the mechanical damage to the vehicle and the age of the wounds and things like that. It can't be written off. And it's the same way with any investigation where somebody has died. So you look at everything, and just because you're looking at everything doesn't mean that that's what you suspect. And I think that's where some headlines come in that can be misleading as well. So I think, here we go. Oh, Mind. What were you doing? Seriously, now come on, Mind. Anyway, I tried to bring it into perspective here. I tried to bring it perspective with what Mind wrote. I just don't know. Where do we start with them? I don't know. I think somebody there was really stupid. But what I'm worried about, again, is that these people are getting into these positions of influence. It's a bit like, when you get community leaders and yet they hate the police. So what are we passing on to our young people in these communities? We're passing on toxic attitudes which are outdated and need to be changed. Otherwise, you're going to go through the same thing time and time again. And there's no point with the police liaising and speaking to community leaders or whatever if the youngsters there grow up to fear the police and think they're just going to get racial abuse and whatever. It's not good. So what Mind actually said, they were talking, we've all heard it, that the man was shot by a police officer. It's hard to bear, especially when young black men die disproportionately at the hands of the police. Disproportionately, source inquest is absolutely rubbish. There's nothing to suggest it's disproportionate, especially when you take in the variations of actually, there's too many variants involved in actually taking, there's 10 white people, there's 10 black people. And I've always said this, that you might have in a particular area such as London or in the cities, you may have more I say it could be social economic areas that mean it's more crime ridden in that areas. We are not saying, and we've never said, that because someone is black, it makes them more aggressive. That would be a ridiculous thing to say. And that would be a very racist thing to say. But what we're saying is for some reason, a disproportionate number of the community in that area for that reason are getting into the gang crime and that side of things. So it stands to reason, taking it back from the select committee, from Cressida Dick, when she was in the select committee, and all the statistics coming back from the government figures at that point, Metropolitan Police, where it was black people were more likely, 8 times more likely to be involved as a perpetrator for gun or knife crime in London, but 4 times more likely to be victims as well. So very much more higher likely to be a victim of this as well. And so you can see why, this is why it gets a bit frustrating where they say, oh, the police, yes, we need to discover why there's disproportionate number of stop searches. It's because there's 8 times more likely that a perpetrator is black in that particular area, that in London and that side of things, generally in London, the whole area of London on average. So we need to be talking about this a bit more honestly without fearing the usual attack. I can hear the trolls tapping away, saying, twisting and saying things that I haven't said, and then getting their 3 likes from the same people every time. So anyway, Mind, that's what I worry about, is because I think Mind why is that person there in the comms in the first place? Why are they so anti with what they've said about the police? And then they backed it up. They've backed up what they've had to say by saying, yeah, no, we're absolutely, and I agree with you. They're having a right slinging match against the police, thinking the room is with them, and it's not, you know. So sorry about that, Mind. You've really messed up on that. Whether you'll recover it, I don't know. But there are plenty of there's plenty of support out there for police, because obviously they're not going to feel so supported, and they're not going to feel confident with the mental health protection that they're going to get from Mind anymore. So they're going to be looking at places like Cops Minds and other places, such as there's a whole list. There's actually, I put on my Twitter page a whole list with all the links to that. There was quite a few people and things like that. It was really bad. Quite people were very disappointed. Welcome to the Commissioner, Sir Mark Rowley, and Deputy Commissioner is Lynn Owens. So they've had to hit the ground running. Let's see. They've had a few little trips, but I think they're going to have many. I think, what do I know? And people will be applauding that, what do I know? But I think if we just do the same of appeasement for people who shout very loudly, and we worry about London being destroyed again, like in 2011, that really doesn't work. We need to stay what is right, what is wrong. We need to be fair and need to be strong. And if there is something that's wrong, it needs to be fixed. But those police officers, they need some support right now. And the massive majority of them are doing a bloody brilliant job and not getting enough support for it. So that's what the worry is. There was a lot of Mind, wasn't there? Here's statistics. So basically, this one here. Hi, lovely photo. Oh, right. Oh, thank you, Sharon. I'll get into that in a second. Statistics. There you go. 18,000 firearms incidents in Devon, Cornwall. 18,000 firearms incidents in the UK last year. All right, that's down 6% from the year before. 16,700 the armed response units go to. So they tend to be spontaneous incidents as opposed to pre-planned. Out of 16,700, it's 18,200 to be honest, 16,700 armed response. How many shots? How many firearms incidents out of that 16,700 incidents? 4, and 5 the year before. So can we make sure that we stop listening to these people, believe me, that was censored, who are trying to give this impression that our British police are out of control, shooting anyone they can, and that they're racist and things like this. Absolute poppycock. And it seriously needs to stop. It needs to stop. Because you can tell, I'm mad. So as we go through, that was a lovely scene, isn't it? Now, this is a nice bit about London in action. There's our policing here. This police officer here, you can talk to the crowd. I used to love this when it was a nice, relaxed time and the public were relaxed, they were enjoying things, they were chatting. And remember that this is probably the first time this young man has spoken to a police officer ever. It's probably the first time that the young lady next to him has heard a police officer speaking to someone. It's all good. It's all good. I love that sort of stuff. So thank you for that. Here we go. Right, so that's good. Yeah, thanks for this. Very sweet. I do get a little bit embarrassed about this, so I'll put it on a little bit, like, because there's a lot of more people in a lot more problems than me. I've looked, you see where I live. I live in a lovely place on the end of the Cornish coast, in a little cottage, and that I was born and brought up in. To be honest, been away for 30 years, come back to look after mum. Obviously, yes, I'm lucky enough to have. To bring in, because there was no caring out there. There was no care help out there from the NHS and from social services and things like that. So luckily, mum was able to afford her own care for 5 hours every morning. So from 9:30 to 2:30, I've got a carer there for the weekdays only. So all the other time, and nights can be quite fun. And weekends, it's me. So I'm quite restricted to where I am. Occasionally, the carer can get to stay overnight, and I can go off somewhere. But for obvious reasons, I have to keep that to a minimum. So there we are at the moment. Thanks so much for your support. I think with that thread that I did, what was really fascinating is one there was really sweet. Somebody said, I really felt alone as a carer until I read this thread, and then I realized how it's real community as it is. So yeah, that was good. And so many people are involved, aren't they? So many people involved. Yes, we're going to come to that. 2 separate instances where members of the public use bikes to stop criminals. You're quite right. And also, what have you said here? Okay, Mind Blue Line got it wrong twice this week. Firstly, their original post from a very biased perspective. Secondly, their poor response tempting. Yeah, it is. It wasn't good, Jacqueline, was it? They tried to recover it, but they tried to cover it. I worry about who are running these things now. Used to be a good company. I mean, I used to would mind when I was 18. I used to work with the disabled and it was mentally and physically disabled. It was called then. I don't know what the term is now, but anyway, and Mind were very big then. They obviously are very big now, but they've caused some damage. Anyway, hi, lovely photo of your mum, Arthur Dog. Hope you're okay after all the trolling. Yeah, well, to be honest, I'll be honest with you, all the trolling got me 300 extra followers in about 2 days, so it didn't cause any damage. So it's ironic, isn't it? So really appreciate all those people who've joined, who may not be watching this later. Some people are really awful. What do you think of the new commissioner's statement yesterday after the stabbing of the officers in London? Will not do much more. Yeah, no, I understand that. Look, I've got my own thoughts on the commissioner and the deputy commissioner, because I followed them at length. I'm not going to jump. I don't want to go on the pylon on that sort of thing. It wasn't great, but then I put something out recently that could have been taken another way, and it wasn't meant that way. And I think the bigger picture is that officers look. I personally don't think the rest of the public generally think that the Met needs yet more sorting out the front line. They're in dire straits. They've got masses of jobs like every other police force has. They haven't got the staff to do with it. They can't move without being on social media or on press. The press will always pick on something where they think they can get some clickbait from it. And so that if you're not careful, the general impression is you get an idea, if you just sit in your chair and take media information in, is that the Met are, racist, blah, 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 blah. And they're just no reason to stop check people, but they stop check people. I cannot understand in this day and age how people are defending someone who fails to stop for police. Oh. And even somebody said, well, because I said, if you want to be part of a safe, civilized society, you have to play your part. And that means you may have to be stop checked now and then. If you're found in a position which could be construed as suspicious circumstances, then if I was stop checked by someone, I would be more than happy to be very civil to that person. And do you know what? It'd be amazing. They'd probably be very nice back. security guard stopped me at the top of the road because there was an event going down at the beach and it was raining. I went over there to have a look over the edge because I'm a nosy bloke. And he goes, he got out of his van because it was raining. It was at night. He was like, "Oh, you're right. You're just passing by." Now I could have said, "Why? What's it to do with you?" All right, it's free that way. He would have said, "Well, it's private property," and then there could have been an argument. But I went, "No, I'm just going past here, just being nosy, just to see what's going on, and I'll be on." Oh, yeah, all right, no problem. It's amazing what happens when you're civil to people, isn't it? Maybe we should be educating people to do that. People think just because it's not legal, it's not law. I don't have to speak to an officer. I don't have to. No, but it's polite. It's civil, and it's in order to promote a safe society that we know and enjoy most of the time. Then we have to play our part in that. It doesn't just magically happen. You can't just sit on the sidelines and watch all the riffraff getting done and arrested because they're all committing crime and then say, "Well, my house is being burgled." Yeah, I know, but there was lots of suspicious things going on around your house, but we had no reason to stop them because, well, they weren't actually doing it. Yeah, but my house is being burgled and my whatever has been stolen. It's whatever. He was only on his mobile phone. How many people are killed by people on their mobile phones every year? Distraction. Distraction is 98% of collisions are through distraction. Not all by mobile phones, but they're not going to help, are they? Here we go. Right, what have we got here? Good reaction against what mine did, which is great. Glad to see it. It was nice. Nice to push back, wasn't it? It was nice. It was good. Good reaction against mine did, which is great. Glad to see a much needed pushback. I think people were surprised. They expected a pile on. They expected everyone to slag the police off and and join in like that. Nasty collision here. Nasty incident here. I think it was homicide or something. Dear police officer, thank you for stopping and searching people. Vernal Scott, he was on Frontline Chat and he's a top man. And he was, he's diversity equality officer. Thank you for stopping and searching people, regardless of their colour, sex, religion, or anything else. Dear parents, what is your child carrying and what is he keep? What company does he keep? Dear courts, please give stiff deterrent sentences. All right, remember courts and all those people who mean well, but are not quite streetwise. I know that rehabilitation is great, but just because rehabilitation doesn't work because the person doesn't want to be rehabilitated doesn't mean that we shouldn't put them in prison. Okay? While they're in prison, they're not stabbing us and they're not stabbing our families. It gives us a rest and it gives a deterrent. Okay? So if necessary, we need to build prisons whilst we sort out the deterrent and bringing people up properly instead of not bringing up people properly because of various reasons and excuses we like to offer. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, there's 2 officers stabbed, one seriously injured, horrendous. Really serious, that sounds. And yeah, not good. Wishing the quick recovery. And I mentioned here about the fact that I'm a little bit worried that I'm very worried, I'll tell you, because I said at the time, and I'm not saying it's on this particular occasion, I got slapped on the wrist by the deputy commissioner for she got it completely the wrong end of the stick and thought I was attacking the police officers. That would be a first, wouldn't it? But anyway, that's fine. What my concern is because officers are too scared to move now. I would be. So there's no blame on them. But if they know that they are going to stop search someone, remember the criticism that came out and that they should not handcuff anyone who is compliant. So naive, because you need that copper's nose, which is so old-fashioned nowadays. You're speaking to someone and you think something's up. Now, I didn't handcuff everyone I searched. I rarely did, in fairness, but then I don't work in inner cities in London and other cities like that. If you felt there was something a bit jittery about it, there's something going on here, copper's nose, experience, they're not as relaxed and things as everyone else. It might be because they're just nervous of the police and whatever. But you just think, I just need this because there's not many of me and there's just as much as him, and they're big or whatever, you get someone there just to hand over. You be polite, and then you search them, because what happens time and time again is they move and they change and they run, or they pull out something because they try to fob you off thinking they're going to get away with it. Then they might turn a little bit aggressive, and then they will run, or then they'll attack you. So that is why to say a carte blanche, not to cuff people that are compliant is a very, very bad thing to say. I mean, it's not good, not healthy, don't like it, really, really just awful. I don't know, where did it go? Trying to find, here we go. Let's try this. Right, this, look at this. Da-da-da-da, I love this. Cyclist. It's one of those cameras that you can, I think, look around afterwards. Police officers on the right hand side, looks okay. Bit of a chat, hand in pocket, very casual looking. And guess what happens? Who'd have believed it? He's compliant. You can't cuff him. Bang, he's gone. He suddenly realised he can't fob him off. He's got to run. Luckily, he's just running. Oh, a little foot. Now, that's always a good one. If someone's running past you and the police are after them, just pop your foot out if you can, and just touch their foot, and they will fly. And then this is what doesn't happen in the counties, where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 police officers there. Remember, 5 police officers to detain him without hurting him. 1 police officer to detain him, which would hurt him without a doubt. Because you'd have to punch someone, which you would try to avoid at all costs. Oh, there's a quote for the toxic trolls. Yeah, so there we go. Just a little tap, just enough to knock him over, and nearly ended up in the bins. Lovely. Don't you just love that? I love that, because, you know, no one's really got badly hurt or anything on that. I don't know what he was arrested for, what he was known, but he was running from the police, and it might have been something very serious, and it might have been something because he's got a tiny bit of cannabis in his pocket. I have no idea. Look at this. David Beckham. He's practically royalty, isn't he? Former footballer David Beckham arrives at Westminster Hall to pay his respects. Yes, he joined the queue at about 1:30 in the morning. He was there for 12 hours. He was with his cap and his low-key stuff, but I think it was quite honest. Obviously was going to be spotted. On his way, he stopped and thanked the firearms officers. Good man. Look at that. And look at those fine officers there. Yeah, blooming love these people. I tell you, I do. Blooming love them. They are under enormous stress. I can tell you now. They are under enormous stress. They are worrying that the next jobs they go to, I'm worried that they are going to hesitate when they shouldn't be. You know, and it's natural that it's going to happen more and more like that. Not necessarily with firearms, it could be with anything else. Those 2 officers who were badly stabbed, one very badly injured, just awful. I don't know. Well, I do. I've heard so. I think most of us seen the video. I didn't want to put the video on here, more videos and whatever like that. They're in a lot of dangerous position. They're not armed. Police officers not armed. Taser is only good in certain circumstances. It cannot be relied on. So we really, really need to start supporting. I know you guys here, you wouldn't be here otherwise, but need to start supporting our officers. And that starts with some controversial supporting by the Commissioner and Deputy Commissioner of London. You know, and not appeasing. Yeah, if something's wrong, fix it. Great. But don't say, yes, we need to change, when actually the people you're talking to are trying to get you around a barrel and are talking about aggression and violence and things like that. I'm not saying they all are at all, because there's going to be some family and friends who are deeply upset that their friend has died. But you've got to take the whole circumstances around here and why he was in that position in the first place. What's happened in order for him to be shot dead? It's got to be looked at in detail, and we can't speculate on that. But that means either side. We can't say it was fine, and we can't say it wasn't fine. And as I said before, it's going to take time. It's frustrating how these things take time to come out, but they do. especially for Manchester was showing his. Okay, I think that's it. I think I've bored you enough. Thank you so much, everyone. It's been emotional. Here is. Oh yeah, I'm going to be. Oh yeah, you know those trolls I was saying. They're really frustrated because they don't get any journalist stuff because they're just beating the same drum and they're being really negative and horrible to policing. And there's nothing worse than an ex-cop who struggled in policing and therefore think it's the police's fault and not theirs. But anyway, I'll be on Talk TV, 6 o'clock Monday, after the funeral, talking about all the royal and VIP side of things. Talk TV, 6 o'clock Monday. I will love to see you there. Thank you. Having a good old conversation in the comments here. Comments you'll see on YouTube. You won't get them on Facebook or anything like that. If you're wondering why the hell you can't see anything. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a lovely, lovely weekend.